Hi and welcome to P2P Tutoring. Today we will be going over the Writing and Language section of the SAT. This section is composed of 44 questions and you are given 35 minutes to complete it. There are 4 passages, one each in careers, social studies, humanities, and science, each with 11 questions. Before we dive into one of these passages, here are a few quick tips to keep in mind during the exam. First of all, remember to always read the passage in its entirety, instead of only the sentences near the question. Some questions will require you to know the main idea of the passage, which is why it's essential to understand the full passage in order to comprehend the question. It's also a good idea to circle your answers in the test book and transfer them to the answer sheet after each passage to maximize your time. This will also help prevent any accidental misbubbling. Lastly, it's always best to underline and annotate the passage for tenses and also just to understand the general concept of each passage as well. Now let's try out a sample passage from an SAT practice test. This is the first passage and it's about career, so we have a bit of a sense of what the main idea is. Let's start reading. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is a U.S. government agency whose budget is frequently many times contested. So since the first question is only asking about this one short phrase, we can just read the first sentence to find the answer. The question is asking what to do with the underlined portion, many times. The options are to not change the phrase, or B, change it to oftentimes, C, change it to repeatedly, or D, delete the underlined portion. In these passages, concision is always key. Therefore, since frequently and many times are both synonyms, the best option would be to simply remove the underlined portion, making D the correct answer. The other options are all synonyms or frequently. Always remember to choose the option that keeps the passage crisp and to the point, and avoid redundancy when possible. Let's keep reading on to question 2. Many people think of NASA's programs as trivial. In truth, the agency has a widespread positive effect on society by serving as a catalyst for innovation and scientific understanding. So here we have a question on the difference between effect and affect. Effect with an E is a noun form, while affect with an A is the verb form. In other words, affect is usually followed by a noun. In this case, we're talking about the effect NASA has on society. Since the adjective positive comes before effect, we must keep the noun form. Furthermore, the preposition on is idiomatic with the word effect, while to in choice C is not. Therefore, A is the correct answer for question 2. Question 3 continues on to the next slide, but we're going to need this sentence to help us answer that next question, so we're going to start reading from before question 2. In truth, the agency has a widespread positive effect on society by serving as a catalyst for innovation and scientific understanding, to create jobs, and showing humanity its place within the universe. So for question 3, parallelism comes into play. Parallelism must be present in all lists and refers to ensuring that each component of the list is in the same tense and in the same part of speech. Here, in this list, there are 3 components. The first component was the participle serving, and the third component is the participle showing. The second component is the one in the question. Because we're given the other 2 components of the list, we know this part must also be a participle ending in ing, thus making B the correct answer. Reading on, in 1958, the program's first year, very few people believed that it was even possible for a manned spacecraft to leave the atmosphere and orbit Earth. But by initiating and collaborating on projects such as the Apollo moon missions, the Space Shuttle program, the Hubble Space Telescope, and unmanned planetary exploration, NASA has continually challenged its scientists and engineers to do things that were previously thought impossible. For question 4, we are also given a list. In this case, however, notice how all components are in parallel form, as they are all nouns. Instead, we are asked about punctuation. Semicolons are only used to separate 2 independent clauses, which are clauses that can stand alone as their own sentence. Since the fragments following the semicolon in choices B and C are not independent clauses, we can rule both answers out. Answer choice D is also incorrect because commas always come before the and in lists, never after. Therefore, A is the only correct answer for this question. Moving on to question 5. All along, these NASA projects have greatly increased international cooperation. Since question 5 is asking about the list that follows the next sentence, we must keep reading in order to find the answer. A short list of inventions elaborated by NASA includes communication satellites, invisible braces, and cordless tools. The items in this list don't mention international cooperation, which is what the passage initially states. Therefore, A is incorrect. The list also has no clear relation to national publicity or the generation of a lot of money, as answer choices B and D say. It does, however, list 3 new forms of technology, thus making C the correct answer. While these items in the list may have generated publicity and money for NASA, there is no clear mention of either of these in the passage, so keep it simple and choose the answer that best fits the information given. Now let's read the sentence again to find the answer for question 6. A short list of inventions elaborated by NASA includes... Okay, so question 6 is asking about vocabulary, and for these types of questions, it's best just to plug in each answer choice and read the new sentence aloud. So we either have a short list of inventions elaborated by NASA, a short list of inventions evolved by NASA, a short list of inventions developed by NASA, or a short list of inventions progressed by NASA. Since the following sentences describe technology created by NASA, choice C, developed, is the best answer. The other 3 options don't make it clear that NASA produced these inventions, making C the correct answer for option 6. Now to the next sentence for question 7. All these inventions spawns new industries, and with those industries, jobs. Question 7 requires comprehension of the paragraph's tense. Looking at the previous verbs in the paragraph, we see that they are all in past tense, such as developed, increased, or believed. Therefore, neither A nor C is a correct option, since neither is in the past tense. D is also incorrect because we need a simple verb, not a participle, such as spawning, in order to complete the sentence. Thus, B is the correct answer, as the only option with a simple verb in the past tense. As you can see in this paragraph, there's a number in parentheses before each sentence. This indicates that there will be a question asking either about the placement of sentences or about the placement of a new sentence into the paragraph. Therefore, it's important to pay close attention to the paragraph and read attentively. Let's begin. A report by the Space Foundation estimated that NASA contributed $180 billion to the economy in 2005. More than 60% of the contribution coming from commercial goods and services created by companies using space-related technology. So here we can stop for question 8. Question 8 is another question about verb tenses. We know the paragraph is in past tense because of the earlier verb estimated, and we know that a simple verb must be placed here to create a sentence. Choice D is the only correct answer here, as the other 3 options don't create full sentences that are able to stand alone. Furthermore, D is in the past tense, which would be in line with the rest of the paragraph's tense. Let's start reading from sentence 2 and place the correct answer from question 8 in. You can see how the paragraph flows much better. More than 60% of the contribution came from commercial goods and services created by companies using space-related technology. This translates as excellent returns from an agency that received approximately $17.7 billion in tax dollars in 2014. This investment by taxpayers enhances not only the national economy but also the United States' competitiveness in the international market. Moreover, the benefits of NASA funding extend beyond the purely economic, as astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson indicated in his testimony before the U.S. Senate. For a penny on a dollar, we can transform the country from a sullen, dispirited nation, weary of economic struggle, to one where it has reclaimed its 20th century birthright to dream of tomorrow. Now that we've gotten to question 9, we see that it's about the placement of sentence 1. So sentence 1 reads, a report by the Space Foundation estimated that NASA contributed $180 billion to the economy in 2005. Since we read the entire paragraph, we know that the paragraph is about the economy and NASA's contribution to it. Therefore, sentence 1 seems to be the topic sentence of the paragraph. Furthermore, the section seems to flow properly with the sentence in its original location. Also, sentence 2 mentions this contribution, which is mentioned in sentence 1. Therefore, if sentence 1 were to be placed anywhere else, sentence 2 would be confusing to the reader and the paragraph would not flow logically. Thus, A is the correct answer, as the sentence 1 should be kept where it is now. Now let's move on to the last paragraph in this passage. Tyson's expansive vision for the agency hints at another mission of NASA's, illuminated in this observation by Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell. You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. Question 10 is asking about whether to include a new sentence. Since it's asking about this, we must keep reading to figure out whether it fits or not. With world population topping at 7 billion, humanity is in need of some perspective. Therefore, we should continue to support NASA not only for practical reasons, but also because it is a necessary vehicle for increasing our awareness of how we can fulfill our responsibilities to the planet and each other. The paragraph seems to be focused on the global impact of the agency and its importance worldwide. However, the sentence in question relates to specific facilities in the U.S., which is not relevant to the topic of NASA's work globally, which is what this paragraph is talking about. Therefore, A and B are both incorrect. Choice C is also wrong because the sentence would not undermine the paragraph's claim. Rather, it would make the paragraph unfocused and confusing. Therefore, choice C is the best option. Now to the last question. Because it's asking about transitions, we must read the sentence before and after to help us with the answer. With world population topping 7 billion, humanity is in need of some perspective. Therefore, we should continue to support NASA not only for practical reasons, but also because it is a necessary vehicle for increasing our awareness of how we can fulfill our responsibilities to the planet and each other. The original option, therefore, is the logical choice here, as it creates the idea that the benefits NASA creates for the world make it important that the agency continues its work and deserves our support. The other three choices, instead, for example, and however, don't work because these transition words don't involve a simple cause and reason pattern like the sentence requires. Thus, choice A is the best option for this question. Thank you all for watching, and I hope this video helped you understand the writing section a little bit better. Please contact us with any questions you might have, and thank you for checking out P2P Tutoring.